Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. 24 and 25, we can dwell on it just a little more to take away some misconceptions that might come along with these assimilating the meaning of the verses. So what kind of misconceptions can come? First, we can have some kind of a lack of clarity on understanding what is this love of things for one's own sake. A lot of things get lost in the translation. What is this loving something for one's own sake? Like the parent loves the child not for the sake of the child, but for one's own sake. What does it exactly mean and what are the ramifications here? So to look at it slightly differently, so that our understanding is a little more clear and more strong, we can say that love of objects, the love of objects is conditional. Conditional means what? As long as those objects, events, things, and people fulfill my expectations of them, then I have no problem loving them. Once they stop fulfilling those expectations, bye-bye. The Bhaja Govindam also talks about this. Yavat vitto parjana chittaha. Yavat vitto parjana shaktaha. Tavat parivaro raktaha. So until the person is earning a livelihood, then that person is very lovable for the whole family. Oh, what do you need? Oh, come. You've come after a long, hard days of work. Put your feet up and have this to eat, have that. And then after that, what happens? Retirement. One elderly lady came to class and she had a t-shirt. She had a t-shirt which said, retirement is ... And then in the back it said, half the money and twice the amount of husband to endure. Because the fellow is not going anywhere. Sitting there only. And so, like this, this is so then there is a change. And then after that, one grows older still. Then there is another change. And then, the invitations also get less. Why? Because the person doesn't drive anymore. And then so somebody, if you invite, you have to go bring them, and then you have to go put them back. And then half the things they cannot hear. How are you today? It's not raining today. No, how are you today? I said it's not raining today. Like this, So there is the question of liability. There's this feeling of, there is so much things to, there's too much. What is that called? High maintenance. They're not high maintenance, but in the minds of the people who are able-bodied and strong and everything, they want to keep in touch. Because there might be a will and they may be in the will. They don't know. So they'll keep in touch. But that it will not be the same thing it was. So this is this is what it means, loving somebody for one's own sake. See, this makes it a little more clear. So as long as there is some kind of a utilitarian value for anything, any person, object, whatever it is, event, issue, etc. As long as there is some you use, then you have no problem loving them. But the person hasn't changed. The person is the same. Perhaps become a little incapacitated. Perhaps is not able to fulfill your expectations of them, whatever they are. But then that change is itself enough to make the person withdraw, make this person withdraw from them. So this is how this is what it means, loving somebody not for the sake of somebody, but for one's own sake. In Vyavahara, in Samsara, all love is like that. Every single love is a conditional love. So but the love of the mother for the child and the father for the child is wonderful and unconditional. They think that. Everybody would like to think that. But it's human nature. Somewhere there is the feeling that this fellow will grow up later and I will have, take care of me. And if not even take care of me, like, okay, they'll be there for me somehow. Some kind of a expectation is there. And so children, everything, employer, employee, everybody. So the love for another is always conditional in samsara unless one is a jnani, unless one is a person of knowledge. And then the love for the self is without any conditions. It's very, very interesting. The love for the self has no conditions. Self-love, even though one says, I hate myself, that is just one, what they hate is the Atma Ajnanam. What they hate is the effects of self-ignorance, is what they do not like and cannot stand. When somebody says, I cannot stand myself, then you ask that person, what is it that you cannot stand? What is it that you don't like? What is it? Then they'll say all these things. I don't like this. So if those things were not there, would you like yourself? Yes, absolutely. So let's say we could change a few things. Oh, I don't have money for plastic surgery. Let's say you have money for plastic surgery. You want to change things, certain things from the body. Okay, done. You want to change the way your mind thinks. Done. Let us say that's also possible by some miracle. Done. Then there is no self-hatred at all. Not at all. So the self-love is unconditional. And the so-called overlay of self-hatred is conditional because it is dependent upon various things. I don't like how my nose looks. I don't like how my toes look. Like there's so many conditions. And if those conditions are removed, the hatred is gone. And so therefore, the unconditional self-love, when it is not understood, morphs into conditional love for another, in the hope that somebody will complete me, somebody will love me, because I don't see how I can love myself. That is the premise behind this love of the self. Everything is for the sake of that self, which is already lovable, which is already wonderful, which is already without a second. But not knowing that, one falls into these kinds of situations of dependency, and that dependency is what is called samsara. Then we had another verse. What was that one? Yeah, may I continue to be. May I be. May I be what? Me. That's the idea. May I always be me, and may I continue to be. So even the person who is very upset and who wants to end their life, if they are intercepted and asked, why are you doing this? Actually, the president of Turkey, he had this encounter. He was just going. And then one man was ready to jump off the bridge. He saw from his motorcade, stopped the motorcade and got the man down before he jumped and said, what is the problem? Oh, it's terrible. And, he told a few things. I'm in terrible debt and I want to just end it all. Don't worry, you contact my office and they will help you. And they will take care of this debt. I don't want to, because it was his lucky day. Karma means nice. It is very good karma here. It was his lucky day. And then, he was told, okay, you can, you contact my office. I will, and he wrote the number of whoever that secretary was. And then he said, contact my office. They will arrange to do this. So you don't have to take this extreme step and then, leave your family bereaved like this. He had small children, everything. And then after that, what did he do? He went back and stood on the bridge? No, he went home. That's the idea. That's the idea. So therefore, even the person who wants to end the life, if you ask them what are the reasons you want to end the life, it will always be conditional. Whereas unconditionally, one wants to continue to live. Why? Because somewhere deep down one knows, I am the Atma, I am not subject to death. I'm not subject to death, I'm not subject to any kind of change, and this is what I am. Somewhere one knows. Maybe not fully, but one knows this somehow. And then that is what is pointed out here. Now, in verse 26, one more thing is pointed out, which is a little technical. Let us see. Yassakshilakshano bodhaha tvam padarthah sa uchyate sakshitvam api bodhritvam sakshitvam api bodhritvam avikaritayatmanah. Yeah, so very nice. Now here is one of the concluding. We have two concluding verses for this section. This is the first of the two concluding verses. What is this section, by the way? Abba. Yes, I can't tell you how happy you have made me. Yeah. Tvam pada vichara, inquiry into the word I. You, but if the teacher is saying you say I. Okay. Yeah. So inquiry into the word I. Okay. So what is this I? Is it that which is identified? That's why it's called I, because it's identified with the body, mind, sense complex. Or is it that which is separate? And if it is separate, why is it so mixed up? And why do I say I am really mixed up? Why do I own up that mix up? And what on earth is going on? So this is the vichara. So from verses 11 to 27, we have what is called an inquiry into the word tvam, as in tattvamasi. So first we start with tvam. Why do we start with I? Because I know it intimately. Even though it's mixed up with the body, mind, sense complex and all these problems may be there, but I know myself. Because if we straight away started to talk about Tat, Brahman, Ishvara, then there is no reference point. And it feels remote. Although there are texts which are called Tat Pada Pradhanya, meaning mostly they talk about Tat Pada. Some texts are like that. But this is not one of them. This is, this is an equal opportunity text. Yeah. So it gives equal opportunity for Tat Pada and Tvam Pada. So then 11 to 27. How many verses is that? 16. Yeah, that's a lot of verses for Tvam. And then 28 to 36 is the explanation of Tat Pada. That will have to wait when I come back next time, or maybe on Zoom. I don't know. We'll see how it works out. So this is the 28 to 36. We have what is called the explanation of what is the word tat. How do we arrive at it? And then finally, this 37 to 53 is what is asi, because we have tvam and then tat and then asi. So what is this asi? What is this being one with that tat? Being one with that Jagat Karanam Brahma, what is that? That is described in the last portion of this text. That is how the text is divided, so to speak. So these here we have two concluding verses. So the first one is Yaha, the one who, Sakshi Lakshanaha. Sakshi Lakshanaha means the one that is characterized by being the witness. Characterized by being the witness. Who is that one? Me alone. Who else? Yeah, so the one that is the witness, Sakshi Lakshanaha. And Bodhaha. Bodhaha means the one that is the Bodha means the one that is consciousness. That consciousness which is characterized by the status of having the status of the witness. Tvam padarthaha saha uchyate. It is known as the meaning of the word you, tvam. First we are just translating, then we'll go into it. And then if you ask, what is this sakshita, witnessing, witnesshood, etc., if you ask that, then sakshitvam api bodhritvam. Bodhritvam, witnessing is nothing but the knowing. Witnessing is the knowing. Knowing is the witnessing. And what is witnessing and knowing? We'll see that soon. But then bodhritvam, avikaritaya. And why? The reason is given. Avikaritaya means because it is free of changes. And so the witness is knowingness. Why not say knower straight away? Because knower means, if you say, I am a knower, there is a peril here. What is the danger? Atma has undergone a change. That is the danger. The peril is that the avikaritaya, we cannot say. Avikari means no change. And Atma cannot undergo a change. Why? Because otherwise there is nothing to do, nothing to study. Vedanta, we can close shop if Atma undergoes a change. And because there is no moksha. If Atma undergoes a change, who is going to get moksha? Nobody. And so Atma cannot undergo a change, and that is exactly how it is revealed by the Upanishads. No change at all. Atma doesn't undergo a change. Atma means I. So then how will I know Tattvamasi? So when I know Tattvamasi, there is a change, correct? So first I was the ignorant I, and then woohoo, I know Tattvamasi. Now I am the knower, correct? So I have undergone a change. So what happened to the avikari Atma, the Atma that doesn't have any vikara, nirvikara, no vikara, etc.? What happened? So that's why it's very important to look here at the, spend a little time thinking about and analyzing the connection between the sakshi, the witness, and this knower. Who is the knower? Will the real knower please stand up? This is all very, very funny. Atma cannot be knower, because if Atma becomes the knower, there are two, landmines here. First one is, we just talked about, Atma undergoes a change. So then it cannot undergo a change, so it cannot be a knower. Another related problem is that if Atma becomes the knower and then becomes quote unquote enlightened with the knowledge of itself, then it means what was it before? Ignorant. Atma is never ignorant. because then it cannot be described as the illuminer. Remember how it was described as that which illumines everything, and then it illumines itself. If it illumines itself, that means it is all knowledge all the time. So then here is a contradiction. So then who is the knower really? So the knower is an interesting mix-up of Atma, I, and Anatma, not I. Very interesting. What is Anatma? Mind, etc. Mind, buddhi, all this is Anatma, inert. It is just blessed by Atma. It draws the light from Atma and shines in borrowed light. We saw all this in the previous verses, right? So then here, the buddhi is the manaha, the mind, buddhi, intellect, all these things. They undergo a change, correct? Before, the mind had a thought. What was the thought? I am ignorant. That was the thought. It had the I am ignorant thought. Then it attended the Vedanta classes. It means the mind, okay? And in Sanskrit, the mind is neuter gender. So it attended the Vedanta classes and then felt wonderful and gained this knowledge. How did it gain this knowledge? It gained the knowledge by removing the ignorance. So the mind that was covered by ignorance, as it were, now has the ignorance has been removed, one change. Then the thought comes, I have Atma Jnanam, I have self-knowledge. That thought comes. That's another change, right? Whenever there is a thought in the mind, the thought means there is a vritti vikara, there is a change. So then the mind undergoes a change, and then the light that is the illuminer does not undergo any change at all. The illuminer is the changeless I. That is where the author here wants us to identify, wants us to go and say, I am this I alone, nothing else. Illuminer doesn't undergo any change, but sitting in that light of the illuminer, the mind undergoes a change and says, what a lovely light, I'm basking in the light. And then if we are looking at this whole Pratibimba Vada, that theory of reflected consciousness, so the mind would be the reflecting medium. So the reflecting medium undergoes a change. And the reflection can also undergo a change in the sense that in a turbid mind full of disturbances, then that is not received, the shine of the sun is not received properly, the reflection. Or in a mind that is wavering, just like a water with lot of ripples, the sun is also looking broken and disturbed. So that all can undergo a change. But then that sun, the reflection has undergone a change, so to speak, but not the sun. So if the reflection in the water looks broken because of the presence of the ripples, or looks turbid, the sun looks dirty, and then, you don't say the sun has become dirty. Why? You look up, you can't even look up because it is so bright, and you see that is not dirty at all. And here in the water, the sun is all cut up into pieces. Which sun? The reflected sun. But there, the sun is intact. And so the illuminer, which is the I, which is the true meaning of the word I, never undergoes any change whatsoever. All the time the same. And does not, there is no distortion at all. But the upadhi, from the standpoint of the upadhi means the body, mind, sense complex, there is a change. And the knower is born. The knower is born, and the knower is a composite of I and not I mixed together. The not I that is drawing the light from the I in order to say, I have undergone this change and now I know. Before I did not know, now I know. Aham janami. Now, but what is this illuminer doing? If it is not undergone any change, what is it doing? It is illumining the knower. Simultaneously, it is illumining what else? the known. And it is also illumining the means of knowledge by which the knower comes to know the object of knowledge without becoming any one of them. That is who I am. You see how now we have abstracted, we have just kind of taken off in that new moon rocket, Artemis. Hope this is not hit or miss. Okay, yeah. So this is important. So, do you want me to repeat it? Yes? Okay. So, this is, let's look at it differently now. Let's take another example and see it, and maybe this illustration will help to clarify it a little more, and may the understanding get a little deeper. If we think about the ocean, there are so many waves, right? Let's look at 3 waves in particular. Let us call one wave knower wave, another wave known wave, and the third wave the means of knowledge. All of them are waves. They're waving. And they're all waves. And then what? Then, from the standpoint of the wave, the knower, known, etc., it is separate. It's a separate cognition called knower cognition. Separate. I am the knower. And the known, the subject cognition, I am the knower. And the object cognition, I am the knower of something. Let's see what. I am the knower of this pot. So this is object. Subject cognition, I am, and I am the knower. Knower cognition, known cognition. And how did this pot become known, become an object of knowledge? Sight. Through sight. And so the sight is also involved in cognition. It's a means of knowing. So there are 3 components or 3 entities involved here. And if we go back to the example of the ocean and the waves, all 3 waves are there. And what is the ocean? Each wave is thinking I'm separate from the other 2. Each one is thinking. But from the standpoint of the wave, there is a difference. But from the standpoint of the ocean, all of them are me. I am not any one of them. The wave number 1, the knower wave, is me alone, the ocean says. The known wave also is me alone. Object wave is me. Subject wave is me. And the sight or any means of knowledge, sight, hearing, inference, etc., that is also what? Me alone. And all 3 are me, but I'm not any one of them. That is the idea. That is what is the illuminer. That is what is Pratyagatma, that inner I. And that is what here Shankaracharya wants you to embrace as the truth of yourself. And when one starts living as this I, then you can kiss samsara goodbye. That is the idea. Samsara doesn't affect. There is because you're not wallowing in the finitude of being just one particular wave. Karta wave. Karta means I am the doer. I am the knower. All these are identities that sink one, give a sinking feeling. And why? Because it is finite. If I am the knower, then I'm not the known. I'm separated from the known. I'm separated from the means of knowledge also. Then there is that loneliness. I'm isolated. I'm disconnected from everything and everybody. But here, if I identify with the illuminer, the one that is shining the light on everything, then I see that all of them are non-separate from me, but I am not any one of them. Is that clearer? Say yes, even if you want to say no. So, so here, who is the Sakshi? That I know, but is it the is it the illuminer? Is the Sakshi the illuminer, or is it the mind, or is it who is this witness?
Illumina.
If the witness, this is a very interesting question. So, if does the witness undergo any change? I would say yes. In sleep, where is the witness? What are you witnessing in sleep? Nothing. Is the witness there in sleep? No. Has it not undergone change? Yes. So then? As though is a good answer. Very good. So the witness here is, we can say it like this. The witness is a manifestation of awareness and consciousness, or consciousness, as it obtains in the body mind sense complex. Witness is a manifestation of this consciousness. It's an iteration of this consciousness. It's very close to consciousness, really speaking. It is nothing but consciousness. In fact, the whole witness is consciousness. Consciousness is more than the witness. This is what we have to understand. Consciousness is not simply the witness. So that's why it keeps saying, go back to the witness, go back to the witness, go back to the witness. It has kept on saying this all this time. Catch hold of the witness, catch hold of the witness. Now the author is in a little bit of a rush. Why? Because there's only 2 more verses to conclude this Tvampada. So he wants to make sure that everybody gets this. So then, all this time it has been told to us, catch a hold of the witness. Sakshi, 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 Sakshi. Then if you keep on catching hold of the witness, then you won't go anywhere. How will you soar? The witness is like a pole. You have a pole, but you have to do the pole vault. Yeah, that game is there, no? Some Olympic game. You run with the stick and then you plant the stick and use it to vault above that string they have put there. And then what? You jump over the other side and not a single body part or cloth should touch that string. You should clear the string completely. Then do you catch hold of the stick and bring it on the other side? No. The witness is that stick, and as long as you need the stick, you use it, you soar, you jump above the fray of all these known witness, witless, all these things, and then the witness resolves into consciousness. Very beautiful. Resolves means where does it go? You have to look for consciousness and look at the resolving. It's not like a melting ice cream, okay? Witness resolving into consciousness. It won't go anywhere. It is just you understand that the witness comes and goes, and as though rises and as though sets into this consciousness, which I am. So the I, which was firmly discovered and inhabited as the witness, now moves into its reference point, which is consciousness. Does that make sense? Yeah. This is the next step. So does this mean I stop witnessing? No, keep on witnessing. But understand that the witness is that I, which is an as though manifestation or an iteration of this consciousness. It is one of the names and forms of this consciousness. Consciousness has many names and forms. One of them is witness. What is the other one? Witless. Okay? Yeah. If you don't know this, it is witless. So this is a very healthy place to be. Because if you're stuck with the witness, then all the time you're witnessing, it gets very tiring. You still are lonely and isolated. You don't feel that sense of connection, because between the witness and the witness, that divide will always be there. And where is your Vedanta? Where is Advaita? Where is non-dualism? So that witness in sleep, it happens naturally. It resolves into consciousness. All that is there is consciousness in the sleep. You are not conscious of consciousness. That's because the mind is not projecting that or aware of that, because it's in a causal state, in the sleep state. That is what happens in sleep. So in the waking state, you are witnessing one thing after another thing after another thing. You're endlessly witnessing. And then, you are witnessing all kinds of things. But then what if there is nothing to witness? If you're in a pitch dark room and you don't even know what is there, and there's nothing to witness, well, the witness resolves into what? The thought that there is nothing to witness, that knowingness that there is nothing to witness. And in a way, one has become the witness of absence. Witness of absence of objects. But even that is, then you cannot describe that illuminer as illuminer when there is nothing to illumine. The illuminer of emptiness, if you say, then it's just the illuminer. All that is there is the illuminer, but you can't even call it illuminer. There is no name for it. We struggle for a name because it is nameless and formless. So illuminer means it's actually doing an action, ER, like teacher, thinker, hearer. But here this is not an agent suffix, illuminer. Just like the sun is shining, so it's not really a verb, even though technically the sun shines is a verb, but it's not really a verb, because it's the nature of the sun to shine. It's the nature of this I, consciousness, to illumine. When there is nothing to illumine, it illumines the absence. Like when the dancers and the musician depart the stage, it illumines the absence, which is what happens in sleep. But then you don't call it the illuminer because it is not an action. And then you are talking of that which is all knowledge without a knower. Because if it turns into a knower, then already the split has come. It cannot turn into a knower. So therefore, the author advises that this sakshitvam is bodhritvam. Sakshitvam is bodhritvam. Bodhritvam means not knower, knowingness. As I said, this is the this is what we mean by knowledge. It is a knowledge without the knower. The knower is missing in action because there is no action. You are one with this Atma that is, as it were, to be known, which is separated by self-ignorance. Self-ignorance removed, the Atma as you already shines. Who is there to own up this knowledge? Nobody. Because the ahankara has been, as it were, falsified. The mind we know is just an object of consciousness. The ahankara is an object of consciousness. The pramata, the knower, is an object of consciousness. So there is no one to claim this knowledge. But that knowing has taken place naturally because one already knew. So it's not that new knowledge is put forth in the classes. It is just that ignorance is removed. And the ignorance is removed, so I, as consciousness, shines. The I shines. And you can't say, I know. I know Brahman. That means what? One is in trouble. How many things are there? Me and Brahman, just two things. Then where is non-duality? Gone. But then you cannot say, I don't know Brahman either. Why? Because you know. You don't know it as an object. That's what it is. This is what happened to the student in the Kena Upanishad. The Kena Upanishad, the teacher gave a quiz. That's how I also got ideas after studying. The teacher said, who knows Brahman? Raise their hand. And one enterprising fellow raised his hand. I know Brahman. And the teacher said, your knowledge is like a dust bunny. Yeah. Dabhramevapi noonam tvam vetha brahmano rupam. Like a little small lint which is there, which the vacuum has picked up. That is what your knowledge is like. And then the other student thought, oh, let me get extra marks from the teacher. Maybe if this is not the right answer, I know Brahman is not the right answer, then what is the right answer? I don't know Brahman is the right answer. So that student also lifted the hand, raised the hand and said, I know. Okay, what do you know? I don't know Brahman. And the teacher said, that is very, very evident just by looking at your face. Please sit down. Your ignorance speaks. Sit down. Then the correct answer was finally given by the student who speaks in riddles. Naham manye suvedeti. No na vedeti vedasah. Yo nas tadveda tadveda. No na vedeti vedasah. Even if you don't know Sanskrit, you can see that it's just like a word salad. So the student begins by saying, I will not say that I cannot say that I know Brahman very well, meaning like an object. But at the same time, I cannot say I don't know Brahman at all. And of the people here, whoever has understood me knows it. And whoever has not understood me does not know it. And then the teacher was very pleased with that answer. This is how you talk. And then confuse others. A few classes of Vedanta. And then the people around you start getting worried. Before itself, you were slightly weird. And then after attending these classes, you talk in koans and riddles. You get fewer and fewer invitations to parties. And even when you go, you're standing with your little, juice. And then, and then people see you from a distance and just duck behind whatever they can, a house plant. Lest you come over and say, I'd love to share what I'm studying in Vakya Vrtti. Nobody wants to know. That is why satsang. Satsang means you find equally crazy people, a bunch of them, and then you meet with them. That's the only solace. And somehow it works. You find people who are equally weird, if not weirder than you, and you find people who are equally insane in this nice, wonderful way, and then you can discuss things with them. That is fun. So this is what is the Tvam Pada Vichara, an inquiry into who I am. So first it was started, we will do the summation a little later. Let's finish the last verse here. What was that other one? Yeah, Yas Sakshi Lakshanaha Bodhas Bodha Tvam Padartha Sa Uchyate. This is what is called I, you. This is what is the meaning of the word Tvam. And then it says Sakshitvam Api. And for that, you have to resolve the Sakshita in Bodhritvam, in that knowingness. The witness is nothing but consciousness. Okay, yeah. Last verse of this section. Dehendriya manah prana Ahankritibhyo vilakshanah projita shesha shadbhava vikarastvam padabhidah. Yeah. So, dehendriya manaha prana and ahankriti. Ahankriti is a polite way of saying ahankara. It sounds better, but it's equally bad. Okay? Yeah. So, it's just feminizing it. That's all. So, deha. What is the meaning of the word deha? Yeah. Indriya, senses. Manaha, pranaha, life forces. Okay, deha, indriya, manaha, pranaha, and ahankara, ahankriti. So, what is this consciousness that appears as the witness? It is separate from all of these things. Here it starts with a discussion of what it is not. It ain't the body. It is not the mind. It is not the prana. It is not the ahankara. How do we know this? Because we can observe all of these things, and whatever you observe, you are not. That is the maxim on which this whole section has run. That is the fuel which has made this section run. And so, deha, can you observe or not? Yes. That's why nobody likes it. And so, yes, it is an object of observation. So, check. So, deha is, it's separate from the deha. Indriya, can you observe? Yes. Sense organs? Yes. You can witness the sense organs. So, they too are vilakshana. Vilakshana means separate from this, from the I, which appears as the witness within the body, mind, sense complex, which I can easily catch hold of as the witness. Then prana. Is prana separate? Yes. Why? Because you can observe your breathing. Simple. That's all is needed. You can observe your breathing, and if you can observe the breathing, that means it is separate from you. It is an object. You can objectify the breathing, and so therefore it is separate from you. Then ahankara. Can you observe the ahankara? Yes. With great difficulty. Because that's where the identification is very thick. I am the best, east or west. Well, then you can say, well, I better not think like that. And so then, you trim the ahankara. The ahankara you prune. You keep the pruning shears ready and prune it. No, but I like the wild look. I don't want to prune it. Bhagavan will prune it if you don't prune it. Yeah. Neighbors will prune it. Friends will prune it. So, the ahankara harder to observe, but it is also there. It is there, but you can observe it. Oh, I feel terrible. Why? Because this person dissed me. It's a word actually, dissed. It's a verb. Dissed is short for what? Disrespected? Yes. Yeah. So this person dissed me. It's a young adult language. Yeah. This person dissed me. Means what? Oh, I got hurt. You did not get hurt. The poor ahankara got a little bruise, blunt force trauma. So that is what happened. Oh, I feel wonderful. Somebody praised me. You feel wonderful. Why? Because the ahankara is preening. The ahankara is preening, spreading its wings, because it got a little touch of validation, especially from a very critical person. That makes all the difference. If somebody is praising all the time, it is you are saying it must not even be true, because you have no other business, you keep praising. But somebody is very tight-lipped and they don't even say anything. You keep doing wonderful things and they just go like they just have a dour face. How was the food? Okay. How is this? Okay. Are you comfortable? Yeah. And then such a person one day turns around and says, oh, that's wonderful. Immediately, on part of the recipient, the ahankara just goes up completely. So if you, this is sad but true. If you want to, like, so if people, this is what is the what is that called? This reward punishment through praise and withdrawal of praise has become a very important tool of psychological manipulation in cults, etc. This is what they do. Suddenly they'll praise. And then the person, innocently gone there and, doing some seva or something, they feel wonderful. And then after that, they don't praise, they keep critiquing. And then one is hungry for that love and that praise and everything. Suddenly they'll look lovingly and then praise. And then this is how, like mass manipulation of all people, lots of people at once. Why? Because the ahankara is susceptible to this. It wants to be validated all the time. It wants to be right all the time. It cannot handle criticism at all. It cannot handle, forget criticism, it cannot handle disagreement. Think about the ahankara. It is scared of disagreement because it thinks that after the disagreement, it will be decimated. And it does not want to be decimated. This I notion wants to stay alive and wants to hold on to its little notions, ideologies, thoughts, fears, everything. And then it feels like it will be decimated. That's why it doesn't like Vedanta classes very much. Yeah. In the beginning, it comes along thinking, oh, I'll have something else under my belt. I will know this. I'll have some lingo. I can drop some names. Shankaracharya, Vidyaranya. I can just drop some. I can do some name dropping. And then I can do some, Vedanta lingo dropping. Avasthatraya prakriya. I can say that. I even know what it means. So the ahankara comes very, very happy. And then after a while, it gets this feeling of being punctured ever so softly. It's like, in India, we have some naughty children who go, and then when the adults are in the house, they go outside in the parking lot and let the air out of the tire and then go away. Some of them wear even gloves because they don't want to be caught. So the ahankara is like, so the Vedanta in terms of ahankara is like that child, truant, playing child. So Vedanta quietly lets the deflates, lets the air out before it knows what is happening. So the ahankara here is a big thing because that is the one that says I am ignorant. Because of ahankara, one is in the Vedanta class. Because it first claims the ignorance. I don't know. The I doesn't know because Atma knows. You cannot say Atma is ignorant. Atma is not ignorant. Body is ignorant. How can something that is inert be ignorant? It is jada. It is not even sentient. For the cognition of ignorance, the sentience is a prerequisite, is it not? So then I am sentient and I am ignorant. I am ignorant means what? That I don't know what? Myself. I do not know myself. That the ahankara is the one that comes to class. After a while, it does not like it. It says, oh no, what have we got ourselves into? Let's become busy suddenly. Let's become unavailable. Let's not anymore go to class because we are in the danger of being punctured, decimated. All the air is being let out. But the Shruti is great because she has a way of doing it without even knowing. like goddess Lakshmi. There is a very nice story of goddess Lakshmi. A bad-tempered sage visited Vishnu and Lakshmi in Vaikuntha. His name was Durvasa, which means difficult to live with. Okay, yeah. So I'm sure that was not his name. His name must have been Suvasa, like Duryodhana, who will name their child? Dushasana. Dushasana means badly behaved. Who will name? Must have been Sushasana, but then they behaved so badly that the Su, the prefix Su, got into Dus, was replaced by Dus. Back to the story, Durvasa comes. And Durvasa has what is that? Has a third eye, just like Lord Shiva, except with a big difference. His third eye is in the sole of his right foot. Was, not is. Okay? Yeah. You'll hear why I'm using the past tense. So then Durvasa goes, and then Lord Vishnu is just meditating, doing his puja. Immediately, what happens to Durvasa? He gets angry and he kicks Lord Vishnu in the chest. Hey, I'm here. I'm a Brahmana. Ahankara. You see, that's why he's an embodiment of Ahankara. I'm a Brahmana. I'm a sage. I'm erudite. Pay attention to me. Receive me with respect. Even the Lord he kicks in the chest, the story goes. Vishnu doesn't even feel it because he's the whole universe. Lakshmi, the Shakti of Vishnu, has a very interesting response. He says, "Oh, sage, did you feel ignored, you little one?" Yes, nobody even came to greet me, and I've been standing here. In fact, I just tried to, I kicked your husband to get his attention, and look at him, he's still meditating. Lakshmi says, "Never mind, let me take care of you. I have food for you, I have all kinds of drinks for you, and I have a place for you to relax. But before all that, give me that foot with which you kicked Lord Vishnu, because because Lord Vishnu is so hard and your foot would have undergone so much pain. Let me massage it for you. Let me do a little pedi, and so let me massage it for you." And and he felt very good. He was like, "Yeah, here's my foot, take." And as she was massaging that third eye would know everything about the future. He had that gift. With that eye, which was in the sole of the foot, he could know so many things about the future. And then she slowly snuffed that eye out, gouged it out during the massage, okay? Massaged the eye out. He didn't even come to know. And then, to everyone's surprise, when that gift was gone, he became a much more agreeable person. Because he had nothing to boast of. And so the gift that had become a travesty is gone. And in the same way, Vedanta also works on the ahankara, in a very, very pleasant way. That's why every class has at least one joke. Yeah. So you can relax as the air is being let out. You can relax, you can enjoy, you can, be light about it. So that is it's the Shruti. It's the blessing of the Shruti. And the pedagogy of Vedanta is so nice that because of these prakriyas means these pedagogical tools, it takes care of the ahankara without really creating a big ruckus. And the ahankara knows, okay, I'm not being decimated after a while. The ahankara says, I'm not being decimated. What am I being? I'm growing up. I'm growing up to get integrated. So that is the ahankara. What else is left? I think we have covered all of those words in the first line, right? Yeah. So then, ahankritibhyaha means from all these. From the body, from the mind, from the senses, from the prana and the ahankara, vilakshanaha, different. Projhitaha means removed. Projhitaha, removed. Prakarshena ujjitaha, projjitaha. Removed. What is removed? Ashesha shadbhavaha. Vikaraha. Ashesha shadbhava vikaraha. That is what is removed. Ashesha means without any residue, it is removed. What is removed? Shadbhava vikaraha are removed. 6 forms of modifications are totally and without any remnants or residue removed from which consciousness? That is you. That is the meaning of the word you. What are the 6 modifications? Birth, and then we can go straight away to death. That's the sandwich. Okay. And then in between, there are 4 pieces of lettuce. What is that? Yeah. So first is the second one, birth, survives birth, because one can just pass away even before being born. So survives birth, grows up, and then blossoms, matures. And then after that, not worth talking about, apakshiyate, starts to decay, starts to rot. And then finally, Ram Nam Satya hai, Vinashyati. Vinashyati, gone, finished. And so these are the Shadbhava Vikaraha. Bhava means for every existent thing, quote unquote, enjoys. There's nothing to enjoy here. So it suffers from these 6 modifications. Everything, every living thing, every living being, every jiva suffers from these modifications. Some animals have a shorter lifespan than human beings. But certain other animals like turtles can live for such a long time. When they are born, they look like a little old man. And then when they're 100 years old also, they look the same. So different lifespans are there. Trees also have lifespans. And you can see the tree is decaying. No matter how many protein and everything food you give, it is not taking the food. It dries out, dries up. So that which is completely free of the 6 changes, that is Tvampada Abhidaha. Abhidaha means a name. That is the name for you. That is your name. That is the meaning of the word you. Where is the next page? Here. Then there is a parting advice in verse number 28, concluding parting advice. Tvamarthamevam nishchitya tadartham chintayet punaha atadvyavrittirupena sakshad. What is that? What is that? Vidhi mukhena cha. Sakshad vidhi mukhena cha. Tvamarthamevam nishchitya tadartham chintayet punaha atadvyavrittirupena sakshad vidhi mukhena cha. So this is the final advice for this particular section, unfolding the meaning of the word Tvam, which is I. So Tvam artham evam nishchitya, having ascertained after a deep examination, having ascertained In this manner, evam. In which manner? In the last so many, 16 verses. That manner. Through the objectification of everything that can be objectified, and then understanding one as the witness, and that witness is nothing but the illuminer, and that illuminer is consciousness without action, without becoming a knower, etc., etc. And so the knowingness or the knower is an as though superimposition upon that I, which is free of being a knower. So the object status is also an as though superimposition upon the I, which is free of being object. The status of the subject is also an as though superimposition upon the I, which is free of being either subject or object or means of knowledge. So in this way, Nishchitya, ascertained through examination, tadartham chintayet punaha. Oh, then I can rest? No, then go to understand the meaning of the word tat. Contemplate upon the meaning of the word tat. After having understood the meaning of the word tvam in this prescribed manner, where you can actually do this kind of a negation. Negation means not disowning. It's not that you disown the body. Body is Atma. Everything is Atma. But then Atma, I. Body is I. Because what else is it? Body is not I. Body is I. I am not the body. Mind is nothing but me. I am not the mind. It's all this one-way selective negation. Because everything is Atma. So the body cannot be outside of Atma. Because again, then there'll be two. There will not be one. So if it is non-dually one, body is Atma. Atma is not the body. Mind is Atma. Atma is not the mind. Senses are what? Atma. Atma is not the senses. Ahankara is of course Atma. Atma is not Ahankara. Atma illumines the body, mind, senses, Ahankara without becoming any one of them. And illumining is not an action. Knowing is not an action here. It's a knowingness, which is a beingness. So the Atma is a knowing being without becoming the knower, as it were. And when in the form of the Sakshi, it says, I know, let us say, it has quote unquote transformed into a knower, or as though transformed into a knower, because the knower status is as it were superimposed, is mithya, and it is superimposed as it were on the Atma that is free of being a knower. Same thing. Object status is a superimposition upon that same Atma, which is free of being either subject or object or means of knowledge. So in this manner, having ascertained, now you can graduate to Tat Pada Vichara, an inquiry into the word Tat. And here, helpfully, he also gives some pointers how to do this inquiry. So he says, Atad Vyavritti Rupena, A, and then B, Sakshad Vidhi Mukhena, that is B. So two methods of inquiry are given. And it's the same exact thing that we have done for Tvam Pada. So the first method is Atad Vyavritti. Vyavritti means negation. Na iti, neti, neti, neti. Not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. That same thing we did with the I, when you looked into the word I, not the body, not the mind, not the senses. But again, it's a selective negation. So here also, Atad means not Tat. So anything that is not Tat is removed from Tat. But why is the Tat mixed up with Atat? Because the one who is talking is mixed up about the Tat. So the Tat is vitiated, the word Tat is vitiated with all kinds of wrong ideas, and those wrong identifications for this Tat Pada, for the word Tat, are distinctly removed. That is method A. You remove that which doesn't belong. And then you reaffirm what is there. Because if you keep removing, what will the answer come? Zero, nothing. It's like the person who said the lecture hall is empty. It's not empty, that person is there. The lecture hall has nobody. No, it doesn't, it's not nobody. You are there. You are very much there. So who is the witness of that emptiness? That is what Vedanta will ask this question. Who is the one who is witnessing the emptiness? Can that person be negated? No, because that person is the one who is the illumining the absence of anything else. And so therefore, here the two methods are pointed out. First, through a systematic negation of that which doesn't belong to the word tat. And we don't have to do this now because he will explain verse by verse. But this is just a concept. Conceptually, there are two methods of analysis in Vedanta. First is through negation, and the second is through affirmation. Both are important. The negation of that which does not belong, attributes which do not belong to the word tat. Can we think of one such attribute? The Jagat, the universe. Is the universe included in the meaning of the word tat? Tat means Brahman. Yes, but is it intrinsic to the meaning of the word tat? No. So you remove the Jagat. Ayyo, I am in the Jagat, where will I go? No, conceptually, cognitively. You suspend that in this equation, you don't bring that into the picture at all. So the Jagat is as though there, when the Jagat is there, then you have a particular iteration of the Tat as the cause of the universe. So the universe comes and goes in various cycles. It appears and disappears and appears again. And so you don't take the universe into account. So that is, as it were, negated or separated from this analysis. And then it's important also to affirm what it is. So what is this Tat? Sat, Chit, Ananda, for example. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. It is existent. How do you know it's existent? You are there. That's enough. You are there, and that you are that existence. So that also is existent. You are also existent. How many existences are there? Only one Sat. Just like we can have a whole lot of pots. How many clays? One. Yeah. One clay, many pots. So one Sat, many avatars, many kinds of names and forms. So then that affirmation is also very important. So that affirmation, it is existent. It's a description. This is not some kind of an attribute. It's a description. It is existent and it is sentient. Why is it sentient? Because I am sentient. And if Tattvamasi, I am that, it must share the same things. And then it is forever the same, unchanging. Here there could be a little speed bump because I don't feel like I'm unchanging, and I neither feel I'm unchanging, nor do I feel like I'm forever. So what to do? Shelve it for next time. Yeah, that's the only thing to do. When we continue with this, that time it will be taken up in detail. So the answer to that, short answer, is basically to understand that, go back to that desire to be. Go back to the desire to be unchanging. Go back to that desire to be always. And then connected with that, then you say, okay, this is Ananta. This is, I want to be always, means I want that forever. And this Brahman is forever. And so that is how. So this is Vidhi Mukha. Vidhi Mukha means through affirmation. Nisheda Mukha means through negation. So this is exactly what we did to the Tatpada. So all these things, the body was negated, the mind was negated, senses were negated, everything was negated. And then the illuminer, the Sakshi, was affirmed, and the Sakshi was resolved into the illuminer. And that illuminer is not an agent of illumination, it simply is that consciousness alone. More we'll see next time. I don't know when next time is. We will let you know. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Yes, everybody has done so well. I see great growth in everyone. Wonderful. Yes. Great growth, great assimilation, great presence. Om Namah Shivaya. Om.